Hey everyone, welcome to group break number 282. Today we have the 12 box hobby case of 2020-2021 Upper Deck Series 2. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Again, this case is kind of marinated for a little bit, for lack of a better phrase. So it is a full hobby case double up. You get two teams per spot, unless you get the Group B team that consists of the Boston Bruins and LA Kings. They are the two weakest teams in the product, and like combined, they kind of equal an average Group B team at best. So so they're kind of just combined. So you get three teams if you line that. So here we go. 3 times on the names, 3 times on the teams. Who you line up with is who you get. Let's have some fun. Again, this case has been kind of marinating for a little bit, and sometimes when our cases marinate, they get good stuff. So here we go. Again, 3 times on the names, 3 times on the teams. Once, twice, third time. Emil on top and bottom. And 3 times on the Group A teams. Again, it's Buffalo down to Vegas. These are the Group A teams. These are typically your stronger teams, and then there's the Group B teams. Same as the listings. I literally just copied and pasted from there. So here we go. Once, twice, third time. Chicago on top, Avalanche on the bottom. Chicago's probably like the most value, like the best value team in this product. Like you'll get a box worth of cards essentially. So there's that, and then Group B teams, 3 times. Once, twice, and third time. Anaheim on the bottom, Detroit on the top. And if this was this year's series 2, this would be both really good Group A teams, but it isn't. So, all right, here we go. Emil, you have Chicago and Detroit. Christopher with the Rangers and Penguins. Holly with the Vegas and Leafs. Graham with the Senators and Blue Jackets. Bill with the Devils and Flames. Marshall with the Habs and the Hurricanes, the Sebastian Aho teams. Robert with the Sharks and Predators. Sergio with the Panthers and Capitals. Emil with the Oilers and the Lightning. Graham with the Stars and Yotes. Christopher with the Islanders and Blues. Blake, you've got the Wild and the Flyers. Dan, you've got the Canucks and the Bruins Kings combo. Emil with the Sabres and Jets, and Emil with the Avalanche and Ducks. There are your teams. Get them into the team viewer here in 1 second. Just got to do the good old magic trick. Oop, that is you wrong. Magic trick. There we go. All right. Team viewer setup. Ooh, I think it might be on an old team viewer if I switch to it just quickly. So, let me just get this all prepped properly, and then we will get going. All right, Team Excel. 31 teams. There we go. Title. Save it. Final. There we go. That should be good. And team view. All right. So ignore if this is an old one. The right one. There we go. That looks better. That looks better. All right. So I don't know. I don't think many people are in here for trade, so we're just going to get straight into the breaks. Again, because it did feel out a weird day, weird time, but wishing like just want to get this shipped out as quickly as possible, like get it ready to get shipped out. So yeah, let's get started. So here we go. Here are your boxes. These can go here. All right, let's see a Kaprizov or two. Okay, that's what we want to see. There we go. All right, box one. Here we go. We'll rip and stack as per usual. Have some fun. Let's pull some cool stuff and let's have a good break. Here we go. This is box serial number. It is serial number. We'll load up. Yeah, it's so weird how it doesn't want to focus on it. Oh, it's right here. It's 37550. Actually, I guess what I could just do in the future is that if I notice something really obvious, then save it. All right, let's see what we're gonna get today. Again, good look at last year's Series 2, or yeah, last year's Series 2. It was a pretty solid product, like nowhere near as strong as this year's. It's just, that's mainly just because this year is just one of the best checklists that we've ever had, so there's like nothing that you can do about that type of thing. The checklist just kind of come down to who plays and who doesn't, and when cutoffs are, and yeah, it still has a solid checklist. I think this has some real good sleeper potential. I think again, Hoglander is a player that I'm very personally excited about, and I think long term he can be very good. So here we go. Radish for the Rangers on the Young Guns. Hakanpää for the Ducks. I just need to slide that up. Portraits. Ustimenko for the Flyers. Bowers for the Avs on the retro. Bowers for the Avs on the regular. Hot for the Flyers. Clear cut of Kempny for the Capitals. And well, right out of the gate, nice Kaprizov for the Wild. A little bit of top chipping. I would say like just a little white edge. Corners are okay, so it's fine. No complaints. Outside again, that like little top edge is a little bit like you won't get perfect edges on it, but it's not bad. That's just being picky. Yeah, starting off on a good note. Killorn for the Lightning. McKinnon for the Avs. Kershaw for Chicago. Colasar for One card right for Vegas. Like 2 for some reason, but it's just 1. Alright, not a bad start. Kaprizov in box 1. Again, Series 2, we can generally get missing Young Guns. Maybe then it was a worse for it on a case-by-case basis, but Series 2, same as Series 1 this year, like, you'll get the odd case where you don't get a Young Gun or 2. And I guess same thing as Series 2 this year, so. Less so this year, though. This year's been pretty consistent. We've only had 2 cases out of 5 or 6 now that have had missing Young Guns, so that's pretty good. You have to. Alexia for the Capitals. McKinnon for the Avs on the retro. Juolevi for the Canucks. Again, if you wonder why I turn over the back of the retros, it's because sometimes you can get Alpha the King, sometimes you can get blank backs in Hobby. They're super rare, super hard to come across. So Marchment for the Panthers, solid Young Gun. Wustomenko for the Flyers, and French Young Guns of Malay for the Capitals. So good box 1. French Young Gun, couple good Young Guns. And not the best name on the French, but it's still French. Marchment solid. I think Kolesar is one of those players that like could end up having like a big playoff at some point. Fox and Bells. Canvas and Dazzlers. Rangers and Islanders. Mikolo for the Blues. We got our pros and prospects in here too. Rents for the Hurricanes. Burke for the Yotes. Belzile for the Habs on the pros and prospects to 250. Again, not the best name, but it's a Hab, so it's also not bad. And again, really strong box 1. And a Milo for the Sharks. So, yeah, might end up being our best box of the entire case. And that's fine. So what we want to see out of this case is a good clear cut. Good clear cuts have evaded us the whole time we've been doing this. 37671 on the box numbers. There we go. One second. There we go. There. All right, box 2. We got a rookie material. It'd be cool to get like a rookie materials patch. Yeah. Yeah, what I more mean by missing Young Gun is like we got all 72 type of thing, but like we're missing one of the 50 Young Guns type of thing. So yeah, so that's the one thing about Series 1 this year that I've heard is that sometimes you can get the extra Young Gun canvas instead of base Young Gun. So which like I mean isn't the worst. Wolf for the Leafs. Sega Doolin for the Flames. Portraits. Mikolo for the Blues. Ingram for the Predators. Sorokin for the Islanders. One of the good ones. I see. We got a couple things from them as well. So Gallagher for the Habs. Dellandrea for the Stars. Alexia for the Capitals. Bearbanov for the Leafs. Ooh, we have an exclusives. Nyquist at 35 for Columbus. The Rosier, actually, bump that up there. For the Panthers. Canvas Dazzlers. Teravainen on the canvas. Bergeron on the Dazzlers. Good. Sorokin's good young gun. Probably will get a bump if the Islanders ever do anything, but very good goalie. Probably like top 3 in the league right now. Shesterkin's the clear number 1, and then you have a few right there for number 2. Sorokin honestly being one of them. Hey, Bill, it's not my fault. It's random.org's fault. Yeah, I'm excited for the draft too. That's why I put 2 breaks on that day. Especially like again, series 2 is just a fun break. So, 1 second, I'm just gonna get a quick sip of water. There we go. But yeah, the draft's gonna be interesting. Hakanpää for the Ducks. No clear consensus number 1. Dellandrea for the Stars. French variation of Palat for the Bolts. McLeod for the Oilers. McNiven for the Habs. 7. McCarr for the Avs. Couture for the Sharks. But yeah, no consensus number 1 pick. Chatfield for the Canucks. And like, there's honestly, you could argue a few different players to go number 1. Carlson for Chicago. Regula for Chicago. Berdine for the Jets. Unger for the Stars. And Young Gun Canvas of Coughlin for Vegas. But yeah, like I think it's hard to not take Shane Wright first overall type of thing. I think Shane Wright's a solid player. I think he's, got that. His growth is kind of stagnated. 3.6450, by the way. But he also missed a year. He missed a year development, but also his draft minus, I guess, 2 year. Like, it was really good when you look at just the pure counting stats. When you add in what he probably played ice time wise compared to similar players, no, maybe not quite as impressive as what it seemed. So I know I've seen a lot of people throw out he's Patrice Bergeron. It's no, that's insane expectations. Bergeron's a first ballot hockey Hall of Famer instantly, and Shane Wright might be Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Ryan Nugent-Hopkins still a pretty good hockey player. But like, you know. Oh man. I think they should do one of like the goal from the blue line on Smith though. That'd be great. Or all from the own end. That was a turning point. Like it legitimately was. But yeah. There's honestly like a lot of memorable stuff from that series between the comebacks, the like the blown lead. It was just crazy. But for the Lightning, Duke for Vegas, Ryan for the Senators. I actually like in my playoff bracket, I took Edmonton over Calgary, send for the Devils, even though I think in terms of winning a cup, like Calgary had a better shot. Robertson for the Leafs. Dubois for Columbus. But that's purely based off the fact DeBrusk for the Bruins. That's purely based off the fact that I think Calgary's defense is too slow to handle McDavid, and it was. Prisky for the Panthers. They could survive against most teams, but Prisky for the Panthers on the portraits. Oh, and French variation of Grace for Colorado. Ingram for the Predators. Yeah, they just weren't laughed for the Rangers on the marquee rookie retro. Their defense was just too flat-footed against McDavid and Whistle for Chicago, and you could see it burned. Oh yeah, 100%. I'm like, I was kind of joking about it, but the more I think about it, it's like, no, that legitimately was the series turning point. So, also, as an aside, is looking into other cards, right? Like in just how other people have done with SPF Authentic. Our inner case was fairly weak. So, I've seen inners have 3 rookie patch autos. Some have 2. That's where one of ours went to, so hopefully it's another half. That should be the half that gets used this week. Yeah, I think we're gonna like slow burn SPA over a few weeks. Honestly, I don't know. I still kind of like. Still kind of on the fence about the Canucks after one of their recent hires. Not a big fan of one of them, so it's not a shock to who, but Anderson for the Kings. But Langton for Chicago. Also, it's Abbotsford. That's a drive. Oh, nice. Matthews on the clear cut for the Leafs. So probably in spirit, but we'll see. It's one of those things like I don't mind preseason Ty Smith for the Devils, but like I'd much rather just go to a WHL game. Tatar for the Habs, if that makes sense. Dumba for the Wild, just because like the WHL just I find more entertaining. Duke for Vegas. Hagel for Chicago. And Whistle for Chicago. But yeah, like it should be a good venue. It should be a good time. Svetch on the variation. We pulled that one. That's like the most common image variation that we pull. Kasha for the Flyers. And canvas of Bobrovsky and Dazzlers of Shen. I haven't been to one. My brother's been to a game, and he said it was pretty cool. If the Canucks had more young talent worth watching, it'd be a little bit more like entertaining, but we'll see how this offseason goes because it could be a wild one. Honestly, box one was really good. Box two was solid. Last box wasn't horrible. Yeah, this next offseason is going to be interesting. I mean, there's some talks about maybe even seeing Horvat get traded. Obviously, there's also talks about his contract extension. 30844 on the box number. I'm not sure. I think it'll be. It's really hard when you grow up cheering for a team for so long to like not be interested in them anymore, no matter how much that team ticks you off with their management choices. And like, I'm happy they made a lot of solid choices. It's just bringing in a person from the old boys club who like doesn't have the best of track records isn't great. Even if they're probably just collecting a paycheck and literally nothing else. But yeah. I think it'll be like I think Canucks management group overall, like their actual like day-to-day managers, is probably better than Seattle's. Their coaching is better than Seattle. Their roster is better than Seattle. Barely, but we'll see how the offseason goes again there. I think I'm pretty excited to watch Beniers. I've really liked Beniers' game the whole time, so I'll probably catch a couple games just because of that. But I mean, like, I love Pedersen's game. I love Hughes' game. I actually picked up some Hughes stuff on the 30th. I was driving down to Oregon and stopped at a Wrestler, and there's a retro Future Watch Auto PSA 10 that popped up for a really good deal. It's like, oh, perfect timing. It was meant to be. So pick that up. Pagansky for the Blues. But yeah, it'll be weird. Ooh, nice. Geeky for the Hurricanes. Nice French young gun of Hoglander for the Canucks. That's a player who I think is going to have a breakout year. Whether it's with the Canucks or another team, I think he's due. One of those players you don't give up on. For the Yotes, because you're going to regret it. Award winners of the Lightning. Frisky for the Panthers. Stamkos for the Lightning. The Canucks are a much more fun team to follow from a roster construction standpoint. Simply because Zagadulin for the Flames. They have a lot going on there, and it's going to be interesting how they navigate it. Krebs for Vegas. Shellman for the Sharks. Shellman. And like, I think they need to push pretty hard. Ingram for the Predators on the Pink Dazzlers. Mitchell for Chicago. Like, I think they need to push pretty hard to kind of do like both a win now, Robertson, and Simmer on the retired canvas for the Kings. They need to push hard on win now. Not win now, but win in 2 years, which they need to like get players in that window because they don't have players for that window. And so like you want to see them start churning over their late 20s, early 30s players into picks, prospects, NHL ready players and stuff like that they can leverage the trade. Like, it's going to be a team where I think there will be like, I don't know, half the team left from the start, from like last year at the end of next year, which is fine because it's going to be roster movement for the sake of improving the team rather than roster movement for budget cuts, which was the end of 2020 for them. Excuse me. And I think that's actually going to play a factor in some of their moves because I gotta imagine Bo Horvat would command a pretty penny on the secondary market, but like I don't think you can get rid of both him and Miller due to all the cultural like locker room issues unless you have a really strong coach and a really strong management group and like general leadership group in there. And I think the pieces are there for that. But it's just that's a really big risk, and I don't know if they're going to be willing to push that button that early. DeBrincat for Chicago, but DeBrincat's a perfect example of a player that I'd like to see them bring in. Yellison for the Flames. Really good player. DiPietro for the Canucks, who, yes, he'll be expensive. Krebs for Vegas, but you'll be paying for his good years when he's good. Belzile for the Habs. Ustimenko for the Flyers, and that's what you kind of want to do. Draisaitl for the Oilers. Under for the Stars. Pino for the Capitals. McMichael on the fluorescence for the Capitals. Again, I know a lot of people make fun of the Leafs salary situation. 1 second, I just gotta sneeze so we can something. All right, there you go. But yeah, the Leafs, yes, they overpaid for their core relative to the market, but I think there's also the whole philosophy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stützle. The Senators, nice one there. Really good box here. Good fluorescence though. But yeah, I liked what the Leafs tried to do. What about Vegas? They bounced back. It's really hard to bet against a team that I guess it depends on goaltending. Blackwood for the Devils, even if they trot out Logan Thompson, it's gonna be hard to. I like Cassidy as a coach for them. I think that's an upgrade over DeBoer. They can't have any worse injury luck. Eichel having a full year of getting back, because remember, Eichel didn't play a lot, so yes, he came in when they started losing a lot, but they also lost a lot of injured players then, and also he didn't play to his pre-injury level, which could just be rust. It could be getting used to things. I mean, anytime a player takes a decent absence from the game, it normally takes them a little bit to heat back up. So I think they'll bounce back. It depends on how good other teams in the division do. I mean, it depends on Calgary. Calgary's a pretty big wild card this year, because if you lose Gaudreau, and if you're forced into a situation where you kind of have to trade Matt Tkachuk, because he's just gonna take his 1 year and then go to free agency. You probably have to think about trading him at that point. So it's tough. I would say they bounce back though. That team's just generally speaking too good to not be higher in the standings. They had a rotten injury luck last year. Cap wise, I mean, yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what they do with Riley Smith. That's a big one. But I think they'll bounce back. They'll probably have to get rid of a good young defenseman, and then maybe a couple other depth pieces. I wouldn't be shocked if they trade Robin Leonard. I don't think that is off the table right now. I think they like Logan Thompson. I think they can tandem a goalie group enough to save the cap space for their forwards. So, but Kravtsov, I do think they bounce back though. I think they're too good to not. Bowers for the Avs. Lagesson for the Oilers. Vasilevsky for the Lightning on the streak variation. Nigel for the Sharks. Yeah, too good to not bounce back. Hedman and Taves for Chicago on the program of excellence. Yossi. Make sure I didn't miss a French. Too good to not bounce back. Again, Oilers will be an interesting team. The Puljujarvi trade rumors are definitely very not good, I think, for that team. I like Woodcroft as a coach. I think he's a very important upgrade. Robertson for the Leafs. I don't think they have a good GM. Gross for the Coyotes. Bodan for Chicago. So it's one of those just like Hoglander for the Canucks. I think that they'll be fine because at the end of the day you have McDavid and Draisaitl, Eichel for the Sabres. So like a team with those two players is only going to do like their baseline level of bad is like, I don't know, maybe not making, like barely not making the playoffs. Because like between those two, they're gonna win enough games like single-handedly to. They'll probably provide the Oilers with like 30 wins. Just those two players. So it's just the rest of the roster that like comes up behind them. Goaltending's interesting there, but I think Stuart Skinner's probably should get the reins. Yeah. Anaheim's the other interesting team. Again, I think they'll probably go for one more retool year, and then a big explosion year next year. They're a team that I think is probably active in the trade market. They made a lot of good rebuilding trades at the deadline. They should have had Dadonov, which actually would have been a pretty big get because Dadonov is the top 6 forward on their team. And isn't that a pretty solid asset, I think, at the deadline? So, yeah, the Pacific is going to be interesting. I think San Jose just takes a step back. I don't see how they take too much of a step forward at this point. Quiddy for Vegas. Vanchek for the Capitals. Harley for the Stars. Francis for the Avs. McNiven for the Habs. Subban for the Devils. Sharon Govich for the Devils. He's become the devil young gun to get out of this product. Larmy for the Penguins. Voracek for the Flyers on the French. McMichael for the Capitals. Kravtsov on the retro for the Rangers. Francis for the Avs. And rounding up the box, Carr for the Avs. And the Pacific will be interesting. The Central, I mean, I know a lot of people like Ryan McDonough and stuff, and like, I don't think he's going to be as big of an acquisition as what people expect him to be. So, honestly, and again, one of the biggest wildcards in the Pacific Division is the Canucks, because they could be anything from really good to really bad. And honestly, Seattle for that extent. If Seattle gets half decent goaltending this year, they could make it. Yeah, I mean, so having a lot of young guns is twofold in hockey. It's either a team that has drafted really well and gone through a rebuild, or it's a team that has to play rookies because they need it for the cap space. 37623. And they are a team that needed to for the cap space, and they in their fairness, they collect a lot of picks. They're actually going to have a good young gun next year. They had a good one this year. They had Eklund this year. Eklund's going to be a really good player, but I think it just their team composition is one that you kind of just have to let die off, for lack of a better phrase. Let them retire. LTIR. So yeah, they got Borderlow as well. He seems pretty good. I like Chmielewski. I think he's like a decent bet to do something at the NHL level. Might not be a star, but like good middle 6 player. Same with Dahlin. I like Dahlin. Yeah, essentially, you're gonna have Chicago probably taking a step back this year. again, especially with the DeBrincat trade. Uh, Arizona can't get much worse, but like, don't know how much better they're gonna get. The Wild without Fiala will be interesting, but they have Boldy there, probably Beckman. So enough reasons for intrigue there. That'll be an interesting division, but like, not gonna be the best probably. Carlson for Vegas. Lightning for the Lightning. McMichael for the Capitals. The East is just going to be the gong show again this year. Cole Smith for the Predators. You're going to have Byram on the rookie jerseys for the Avs. Nice one there. Cousins for the Sabres. There we go. Ooh, nice. I mean, high glosses are like, it's weird because they're 10 times rarer than exclusives. Turcoff for the Blue Jackets on the Young Guns, but like they're not 10 times more valuable. Joseph for the Penguins, French variation of Batherson for the Senators. Send for the Devils. Michael for the Capitals. I keep on meaning to look into that. Laugh for the Rangers. There typically is Hoglander for the Canucks on the canvas. Canucks, you have the almost the full suite there. You got the French, you got the base, you got the canvas. You just need the exclusive high gloss and clear cut. There used to be, and it would be tiered kind of. So like the base price for like a high gloss, essentially, I would say out of release is like $100. You should be able to sell that every day of the week out of release. For like, no matter who it is. For like a mid-tier player, it's probably compared to an exclusive. So a Dolly exclusive is probably what, like $7,500. I honestly haven't checked though because Eklund went for like 4 something, which is wild. But yeah, there used to be like a typical like you multiply by X to get the value, and within tiers, so you could kind of be like, okay, this is fair. In theory, it should be 10 times the price of a exclusives because that's how much harder they are to pull. But in practice, it's like closer to like 2.5, I would say. All it takes with rare cards like that is the right buyer at the right time, and you will sell it. Like I had a Sam Steele card that I literally had up on eBay at a high price for like, just because I didn't care if I sold it or not, and I liked Sam Steele enough at the time that, whatever. And then one day it sold. I'm just like, wait, what? So, Belzile for the Habs. Schmaltz for the Yotes. So it's one of those high glosses are the weird ones to price the rents for the Hurricanes because it's harder to pull like data for them. Soderstrom for the Yotes. Vanacek for the Capitals, but like nice hit regardless. Yossi for the Predators. I should be getting my French Sharks in soon. The Trudon for the Sharks. Ben for the Stars. Harley for the Stars. Nice little Stars pack there. Birding for the Jets. Byram for the Avs. Hagel for Chicago. But yeah, off the top of my head, I'd say it's about 2.5 to 3 times the Young Gun exclusive price. They could do them for the Flames on the red. So like, not insane, but like solid. Because I think a Cider exclusives would be both. It might be 5 times actually. It might be 5. but it depends on the player. Because the Cider exclusives is probably, I would say, what, 1,500? And his high gloss would probably be 750. It just, there's so many variables with it. Let's check. I actually want to check this. Yeah, so like a coal cylinder sold for 800, so you're not getting more than 800 for Darlene. For Dahlin. A Lockwood sold for 180, which I think is high. Oh, and Anders Nielsen only sold for like $20. That's actually kind of surprising. Wow, there have been some of these that have actually sold really cheap. I should have kept a better watch on some of these. I'm kind of upset now. Like the Lucas Raymond High Gloss sold for 3,000. So like, you're probably looking in that like 400, 450 range, I would say. Just candidly speaking. Darlene exclusives guns. I'm gonna guess he sold for about 120. Yeah, I would say probably in that 500 range. It's one of those weird ones where I think like, yeah, probably in that range. I'm actually shocked the coal cylinder didn't go for slightly more. They're also a lot harder to pull now than what they were in previous years, so exclusives have kind of shot up in price a little bit because of that. Yeah, I don't know. I know there's a couple of shark collectors that I follow, but I think one of them's fully switched to Kraken, so. Three 6 2 6 8. Did you do much SPA stuff, Bill, or just curious? Because like our inner was just compared to what I've seen was pretty rough. Card quality is solid. There's some like issues, but like nothing insane. Who's gonna be the biggest surprise? I think Buffalo could surprise some people next year. Like, I like Don Granato as a coach. I think their front office is good enough now. Nice. Yeah, I mean, getting it to one of those ones. I mean, Buffalo's had good luck. They've won draft lotteries a couple, well, once at least, twice. Drysdale for the Oilers, they just ruined they ruined one of their first overall picks pretty bad, and they wasted the second overall pick, who should have been a first overall pick in any other year. Harkins for the Jets. DeRosier for the Panthers. Alexia for the Capitals. And good luck on the ice, yeah. That's fair. Ty Smith for the Devils again. Some sticky packs here. Athanasiou for the Oilers. Yeah, I think their goaltending is going to be the big one. Joseph for the Penguins. I like Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. Latuno for the Sharks. I think their defense is good enough. Vedimo for the Habs. Speaking of a high gloss, Halak for the Bruins on the high gloss. Well, not every day you get one of those, so pretty tough pull there. And honestly, literally one of the worst teams in the product. So, cool card. Let's bump the Stützle down. Move the cap over. Will probably end up being our hit of the break just because it's cool and rare. Pino for the Capitals. Norris and Hall on the retired canvas for the Stars. Yeah, they're definitely due for stuff. Who else is due? Montreal's going to be an interesting team to follow. See how many trades they make. Ottawa is going to be a chaotic team, I think. The Islanders are a team that is going to be one of those as well. Yeah. It's honestly been a while since we pulled a high gloss. Like, it's been a long time. And, like, again, it's not going to be a big value card. But it's one of those cards just, it looks really cool in your collection. Especially, like, the past few years, the high gloss, like, design has just been so much nicer. But yeah. I know there's some people asking my, like, again, this is just like an anecdote to other breaks. Why we have 32 team randoms for Series 2 and the Kraken have few cards, and it's like the Kraken actually like aren't the worst team in Series 2 this year. I know it may seem like it, but it's actually like it's Pittsburgh by a decent amount. Lawrence for the Hurricanes. Obviously, Pittsburgh, you have some Crosby potential there. Just Lennox for the Blue Jackets, just in the canvas, specifically the black canvas. Prisky for the Panthers, and the Hellbuck for the Jets. The what are they called? Passages. Robert for the Oilers. But like passages are 1 per case, and it's essentially you're betting a 1 in 30 on Crosby. A little bit like something like that at least. Oilers for the Jets. So like that's a pretty rough bet. Turcoff for the Blue Jackets, and like their actual base, so like your French, your clear cuts, your exclusives are gonna be bad. Lindstrom for the Red Wings, Reinhardt for the Sabres on the French. Whereas with Seattle, Lawrence for the Hurricanes, they actually have more cards on the checklist than a few teams. I think 3 teams. Marchment for the Panthers, and their stuff is generally selling okay. Larmy for the Penguins. Obviously, like I'm not trying to say that they're like a really good team. They're still a bad team. Weber for the Habs, but they're not the worst team in the product. They're like, I would say they're like about 27th overall out of 32. I mean, you could bump them up or down a couple spots, but if you hit any exclusives of a Kraken player, like it's going to sell well. Any clear cut is probably going to sell well. The Leafs have a stronger checklist because I think they have like both Marner and Matthews on their base. But that being said, they're kind of selling at the same rate as like the top Kraken players. So it's one of those just like, well, okay, they have more cards. They're going to hit a little bit more consistently. Yes, they aren't going to be like as big of names, but 37610 or 601, sorry. They're not going to be as big of names, but they're still going to hit consistently. And like this year's Series 2, so 21-22 in particular, has a really like uneven checklist, and we'll have some different break formats. It's gonna kind of anyone who's active on it, but like we're gonna have some different break formats for it just to try some different things out with it because it is pretty imbalanced. I mean, I've counted the team counts at least for all of our cases so far. We've done 4 full cases, and the best team in that is the Sharks, in terms of quantity. And then there's 12 teams that have 12 or more cards. Vegas on the edge there as well at like 11.75. So essentially 13 teams that have averaged about half a box worth of cards, which is really, really good because in 32 teams over 300 cards in a case means 9 per average. So those are all getting 3 above average, and those have got to come from somewheres. And unfortunately, they come from the bottom 8 teams who all average 5 or worse, with about 5 of those teams being 3 or worse. So it's one of those products just like, I think our next break for it will probably be a modified team random. And you'll see like, it'll be more expensive per spot, and that's kind of like my biggest worry with it. But it'll be a little bit more balanced. So like we'll have like kind of those top 12 or so teams, maybe 13, maybe 14, something like that. I'll figure out the exact number and like try and find the sweet spot and dial it in. To rent it for the stars. But like find that sweet spot between price and value per spot, growth for the Yotes. And like it's not going to be the best Berdine for the Jets on the fluorescence, just because like, you know, you're going to be paying more. You're going to get 2 teams, but your 2 teams might not be as like, you're either going to get 2 teams or one really good team, and like your 2 teams might not be as strong as what you'd hope for. The 2-0 for the Sharks. Kemper for the Yotes. So it'll be interesting. Again, we'll try different stuff with it. Makar for the Avs. It is a checklist that is like, it's very strong. Tavares for the Leafs, but it's just, you know, the first thing I saw when I looked at all the numbers was this is going to be really lopsided, and Hack and Paw for the Ducks, and it is. Like, it's just unfortunately how the checklist breaks down. DiPietro for the Canucks, backs it for the Stars. So, Wolf for the Leafs. And like, again, it's tough to pick, you know, the teams to put as a free team. Broberg for the Oilers. I know a lot of people's instinct is to do the Kraken right away, McLeod for the Oilers, but I like, they're not the worst team in the product, and it feels weird to like, you know, have the, I would say Pittsburgh's by far more a worse team with actually like way more risk too. Granted, they do have some higher payout, but it's not as big as what you think. Like, I'm trying to articulate this point properly, and it's hard without like really talking through it a ton. It's just tough to like kind of find that balance, and it's tough to also be like, hey, like this team that's actually like I don't believe is the worst team is going to be like one that gets given away because they're the new team, and like that price still gets, you know, built into the break type of thing, right? Like, it's a weird one. So we'll try some different formats for it. And like I get the consent from people too, right? But like if you're gonna be like, you know, the Kraken are bad, like it's also just important to recognize that like, yes, they're bad, but there are other teams that are worse, and it feels disingenuous, I guess, to like kind of just be like, well, they're bad because they're the new team, so therefore like they're worth less. And it's like, that's not really the case. I think one of their strengths is because they're new, their stuff actually sells generally more consistently. Sorokin for the Islanders, and that's a good thing. Like, that's a major pro. So, but yeah, there are some stinkers of teams in it, unfortunately. But there's so many really good teams, right? McNiven for the Habs. Like, if you hit Detroit in a team random, like, what the heck is? All right, I have seen it all. What does it get from PSA? I think they'd call it like hand trimmed. But all right. Let's just stick that there because that is hilarious. I have not seen a more miscut card ever. Ingram for the Predators. Legitimately have not seen a more miscut card ever. Zamula for the Flyers. Andre for the Stars. Riley for the Senators. Andre for the Stars. That is that's a first. We've opened up a lot of packs and that is a first. I'm making sure I didn't miss a French because I'm just so caught off guard by that. I'm just like, oh, this is a different shaped card, and it's like, oh. Yeah, like no one would believe that that came out of a pack. Radish for the Rangers. The worst part is that there's more of them out there. Theodore for Vegas. Well, not the worst part, but like one of the coolest parts, I guess. Calfoot for the Lightning. Foodie for Columbus. And Lap for the Rangers on the Program of Excellence. We got 2 POEs and a little bit of a soft left corner on that one, by the way. Slightly soft, but not bad. Actually, it's not as bad as what I thought. It is there, but it's not that bad. It looks worse than what it is. Delandria for the Stars. You get a French, right? I think it's facts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 13. Plus 6 Young Guns is 14. Yeah, that should be correct. That's our second boxing. Yeah, that's correct. All right. Yeah, I've never seen a card that miscut. That is wow. 1 second. I need a quick drink of water. Oop, camera there. A little bit too far. There's a sweet spot. 37876. Yeah, that is that's a first. So who else is beside that? Because like we might actually get. So no, we don't even get insight. How many sides does this have? It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's a 6-sided card. I've never seen that before. There's also a I don't know if I can catch it in the light. There we go. You can kind of see the line across there. Like just from where it got caught, I guess. So I mean, it's technically one of one because, like, good luck finding another card cut like that. Yeah, back to the Kraken stuff. Like, again, it's just, it feels weird to leave off a team that's, like, not the worst team in the product, and I don't know. Like, I'd feel more comfortable doing Pittsburgh as that team, but even then, like, they still have enough of an upside, like, and if they do really bad, again, we'll throw in an overtime pack. So. But that is part of the pros and cons of doing breaks and doing team randoms is that there are going to be bad teams and there are going to be good teams. And, you know, for every good team, there's a bad team type of thing. And if there's a lot of good teams, there's also going to be a lot of bad teams. And if there's a lot of really good teams, those bad teams are probably going to be really bad. So it's one of those weird spots in sports cards where like everyone's gonna have a different opinion on it, and that's fine. And just personally speaking, I don't think that they're worse than other teams. McLeod for the Oilers and Johnson for the Lightning, that like are in the break, and I think you'd rather get stuck with them than others. Mark Schmidt for the Panthers. You'll love it for the Canucks because like they have a passage still. It's a random, but they have a passage still. Cursive for Chicago. They have Cole Linden rookie materials and stuff. So like, got that. McDavid for the Oilers. Buffalo, Ottawa on the checklist. To be random. I believe because I believe they're different teams here. Buffalo is Emil. Ottawa is Graham. Stack. Coughlin for Vegas. So, you'll love it for the Canucks. Here's Timmy. Second Timmy. So 2 Timmys. 2 Sorokins, a Kaprizov, Cousins. Actually, we got a Cousins fairly early on. Good stuff. Khrushchev on the Pink Dazzlers for Chicago. Regula for Chicago. Couturier and Gibson. Dazzlers and Canvas. Canvas and Dazzlers, however you want to see it. Yeah, that Olsen's wild. I've never seen a card come out of a pack with 6 sides that was meant to have 4 sides. Third fluorescence. We've had a really like strong case. No Romanov yet. Romanov. He's the main big one that we're missing. But hit Ty Smith. We've hit Hogg. We haven't hit Keandre Miller either. And we haven't hit our clear cut young gun. We still should have some good stuff coming. I'm just gonna take the base card away now. Angelo for the Penguins. Kidlanix for the Blue Jackets. Sorokin on the fluorescence, that's a good one for the Islanders. That's 3 per. You only get 2 per normally, but we will take that. Rome, first time getting him. Wheeler for the Jets. Hellebuck for the Jets. Angelo for the Penguins. Korchkov for the Leafs. Draisaitl for the Oilers. Alexiev for the Capitals. Byram for the Avs. Wolf for the Leafs on the canvas. I need to get the French right. Yeah, it was Johnson. All right, final 3 boxes to go. Still missing, yeah. Missing Romanov and Miller are the 2 big names, I believe. Need our clear cut and our box filler as well. Take a rookie breakouts like Kaprizov instead of the box filler, but 30843. All right, next one. O'Mary for the Devils. Oh, there's a second Kaprizov for the Wild. So really good case here. This one's got a soft top right corner, and honestly, the bottom left looks a little iffy. The top right is not the best. Again, just being picky. Top left on the back is not the best either. Edges aren't like, it's not going to grade a 10. It might get a 9 on a good day, probably like an 8.5. So, pack fresh. Harley for the Stars. Kreider on the French. Okay, have the French. Gula for Chicago. Coughlin for Vegas. Vanacek for the Capitals. Red coming up of Robertson for the Leafs. Lankinen for Chicago. Harley for the Stars. Broberg for the Oilers. Risky for the Panthers. Theodore and Hischier. Vegas Devils, Canvas Dazzlers. All right, a few more packs to go here. Yeah, we'll be live. There's still spots left in the Series 2 break for Thursday. Link to that will be in the description if you're watching on YouTube. It's just on the site, theparfait.com. There's a box filler, I believe. Is it? Or is it just a clear cut? It might just be a clear cut. I think there were 18 spots left at least this morning. Should fill up, and then obviously SPA will be there. We'll be there to talk the draft and have some fun there. Ryan for the Senators. True for the Sharks. Chatfield for the Canucks. Hagelin for the Capitals. Clear cut. I don't know if we're gonna get a base clear cut now, or young and clear cut Yeltsin for the Flames, because I think that's either our third or fourth clear cut. Hamilton for the Hurricanes. We've had Matthews, Hagelin, and at least one other. Ooh. For Lightning, sorry about that. I don't know why, I just got like really tired the past like half hour or so. Hagel for Chicago. Berdine for the Jets. Zagadulin for the Flames. Khrushchev for Chicago on the retro. Krebs for Vegas. I'm getting in the wrong pile. Did I do that? I did. Well, it was Chatfield in my defense. Thanks for the catch. All right. 2 boxes to go. It's been a good case. Like, good French, 2 Kaprizovs, 2 Stutzlas, a high gloss, 3 fluorescences. Clear cut of Matthews is solid. Uh, 363. Fairly fancy box numbers. All right. Had a pack go flying on me. Go. All right, here we go. Box 11. See if we can get another piece to that Olofsson puzzle. Killer for the Yotes, and also some of the youngins that we don't have yet. Leonard for the Sharks. Mikolo for the Blues. Johansson for the Sabres, but Mikolo for the Blues on the French youngin. So that's our third French. We definitely have a funky case. Because three Frenches isn't like it'll happen every once in a while. Work for the Yotes, like it's not uncommon, it's just, well, it's uncommon, it's just hidden for the Lightning. We haven't got the clear cut yet, and we have had some weird, like, bet 3 fluorescences. Risky for the Panthers, and normally you only get 2, but Zagadulin for the Flames. Kravtsov for the Rangers. I feel like that's supposed to be our box filler, but we actually got a box filler. So, I don't know, man. This case said some weird stuff. Suter for Chicago on the youngins. Oh, there is our box filler. Tom Wilson for the Capitals. So, just some blank one. Honestly, the most fitting box filler, by the way. One of the most fitting ones. Love him or hate him, he's good at what he does. And a second Cousins. There we go. It is very rare that we get 2 Dylan Cousins in a single case. Like, honestly, we've doubled up on, like, the top 3 Young Guns. Kaprizov, Stützle, Cousins. Oh, the top 4. Because Sorokin as well. Hurdle, Monahan. Both members of the 2013-14 rookie class. That's a weird occurrences in that box. Well, in that first half. I think we have... No, that's just the rookie materials. I don't know anymore. Typically the clear cuts with the box filler, but it's not always the case, so. But yeah, been a fun case. Like it's been good for, especially for like, again, the top few teams. It's been really good. Some of the depth teams too. I mean, like, you know, the Bruins are solid. You got a high gloss, nothing else, but you got a high gloss. Chicago is Chicago. I mean, the Islanders did really well. Sabres did okay. Canucks, you got the French Young Gun. Yeah, that's good stuff. Draisaitl. Black for the Rangers. Lazar for Vegas on the Young Guns. Latino for the Sharks. You actually got some teal patches popping through there. Angelo for the Penguins. Hintz for the Stars. Marchment for the Panthers. Nigel for the Sharks. Robertson for the Leafs. Soderstrom for the Yotes. Ustimenko for the Flyers. And a Sorokin Young Gun canvas for the Islanders. So there you go. Yeah, Islanders, Wild, Sabres, Senators, all doing good things here. I mean, you know, Blues, you got a French Young Gun. Canucks, you got a good French Young Gun. Panthers did fine. It was a good case. And there's still 1 box to go. We still technically have a clear cut, but we haven't hit it yet. So 37640. It's been a weird case, but a good case. Now let's finish off with a bang. Our clear cuts have generally been bad, so hopefully we get one, but we might not. It is the last box, so. clear cut. Clear cut Stutefla. That'd be nice. Actually, clear cut K'Andre Miller with a base Romanov. That's what I want to see in this one. All right, here we go. Raleigh for the Rangers. Wolf for the Leafs with the French variation of Bernier for the Predators. Edmund for the Lightning. Byram for the Avs. Skinner for the Oilers. Doughty for the Kings. Samula for the Flyers. Ingram for the Predators. Skinner for the Oilers. 5, 6. Price on the suit variations. So that's our third suit variation. So we do have a weird case. Bagansky for the Blues. D'Angelo Riley, Canvas Dazzlers. Rangers Leafs. Last half, here we go. It's a weird but good case. Looks like we'll have one random to do as well on the Young Gun checklist. That package did not want to open up. Here's a canvas. We did have it seemed like we had an extra program of excellence as well. I think that's just the base. That's a jersey card. I don't think we hit a clear cut. Unless it's hiding, but don't think we hit one. Reinhardt for the Sabres. And Whistle for Chicago. Skinner for the Oilers. Burke for the Yotes. Nicola for the Blues on the retro. Soderstrom for the Yotes. Cousins for the Sabres. Yeah, this case, like, from a pure value perspective, was excellent. Granted for the Stars, it sucks that there's no clear cut. Belzile for the Habs, at least it doesn't look like there is one. There's a Romanov for the Habs. Yeah, I'll put him in this pile. Lucas Carlson on the jersey for Chicago. There's a little bit of like gold foil on it. And Legason for the Oilers to round things off. So, yeah, the only young gun that we were missing was K'Andre Miller. One second. I just got the random set up here, and then I just gotta check something. All right, we'll do an overtime pack because we didn't get the clear cut young gun. The case itself was really good, so like, you know, it's one of those. The case was good, so there's no major complaints, but And then I think, again, I'll go back and make sure there's no Keandre Miller, but if there wasn't, we'll see what happens there. So, here we go. 3 times on the checklist. We'll do the checklist, and then we'll do the overtime pack just for no clear cut. So here we go. Once, twice, third time. Ottawa. Graham. And 3 times on the names. Once, twice, third time. Sergio on the pack. All right. Recap time. Let's see. Good canvas, good base, subset, French, base, base, subset, base, base, school card, base, school card, French. All right, so let's start off with, we'll go something like this. So some cool notable cards to start us off. Belzile on the MVP Pros and Prospects 250, Matthews clear cut, Tom Wilson on the box fillers. Good young canvases, Cousins, Sorokin, and Olaf, POE. Really, like, we doubled up on really good base young guns. Sorokin, Cousins, Stützle, and Kaprizov. 3 fluorescences, which is kind of weird. McMichael, Berdine, and Sorokin. McMichael and Sorokin are both solid. So 3 French young guns. Malay, Mikolo, and good one here in Hoaglander. Probably second best hit of the break. And their hit of the break, I mean, hey, it's a high gloss. We didn't really get anything else. It's like insane and just like highlighting them. So Halak, high gloss to 10. Of note, we did not get a clear cut young gun. We got some weird like filler stuff, and then, I mean, the 6-sided card. Actually, is it 6? Yeah, it's 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It came straight from the back like this. So I don't even know if it'll top load. But anyways, there are still spots left. Ooh, it will top load. Nice. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. There's still spots left in the break for Thursday, the Series 2 case from this year. So feel free to check that out. I'll get this video uploaded, try to get this sorted out tomorrow. If not, it'll maybe be the day, like it'll be dropped off maybe the day after tomorrow, but we'll see. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and see you Thursday.